Hello my fellow DC fan, I'm your host Dingus Bringus, and today I'll be talking about Ezra Miller still being the Flash in the DCEU. So before I get into that, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my future DC Comics Explained videos. So, this is a surprise article that just dropped from The Hollywood Reporter, and the headline is Flash Shocker, IT director Andy Muschietti in talk to tackle DC movie. Exclusive. Okay, so I was not expecting this, and basically what they're saying is that Andy Muschietti, the filmmaker behind the hit Stephen King adaptation It and the upcoming It Chapter 2, is in talks to direct the action-adventure project based on the DC comic superhero. His partner and sister, Barbara Muschietti, will produce, joining Michael Disco on the project. Now, they also say that John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, who wrote drafts of the script and were slated to direct the project, have moved on. However, Ezra Miller, the actor who has long been attached to star as a fleet-footed hero, remains on board to star. Now, they also say that in further development, the studio won't be moving forward with the script Miller co-wrote with comics author Grant Morrison. Instead, Warner's will hire Christina Hodson, the scribe between Bumblebee and the studio's upcoming DC movie, the Margot Robbie-fronted Birds of Prey, to tackle the script. The goal is to be in prep by January 2020. Now, this is really huge news because, as we all know, back in May, at the end of May, the contract supposedly, as far as we know, both for Ezra Miller and Ray Fisher were up. And since we didn't hear anything about Ezra Miller still being the Flash, I personally assumed, I think most people assumed, that Ezra Miller would no longer be playing the Flash in the DCEU. But now the Hollywood Reporter is saying that he will be. This raises the question, if they're not using the script that Ezra Miller wrote, what kind of script are they going for? Well, like the Hollywood Reporter says here, the tension surfaced around what kind of take was the best fit for a Flash movie. Miller, who has played the character since its 2016's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, favored a darker approach, while Goldstein and Daley, the duo who wrote Spider-Man Homecoming and were behind the comedy hit Game Night, wanted the opposite. Now, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man Homecoming. You guys probably know that. It's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. So I was all on board for them writing and directing this movie. But I would have preferred Ezra Miller's preference of a darker movie. And that was the script that Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison wrote. So, with my own speculation, I'm guessing that Ezra Miller and Grant Morrison wrote a script. Obviously, they're not scriptwriters, so it wasn't a great script, but the story that they had and the premise they had was really good. So then they're like, alright, so we're going to take that story, we're going to do what you want, Ezra Miller, we're going to take this story, you can still be the Flash, but we're just going to give it to Christina Hodson, who wrote Bumblebee, which a lot of people enjoyed, and who wrote Birds of Prey, which is getting amazing first reactions right now, and we're going to give it to her, write the script, she'll make a great script. Then we'll bring in a horror director, Andy Muschietti, to direct this because it seemed like they're going, like I said, more of a darker take that includes a character such as Black Flash. And as we saw from the Flash TV show, that character could be kind of scary. And obviously he knows how to write dark movies with It and It Chapter 2 and direct those movies, but also have some comedy in there, which could be a perfect balance for this kind of movie. And this is also not the first horror director to be a part of a very successful DC movie. Obviously, we had James Wan, horror director, put out Aquaman, $1 billion. Then we had David F. Sandberg, made Shazam, made 3 times its budget. So they were both incredible successes. So Warner Brothers probably saying, okay, so we have this more darker version of The Flash. In the past, we had 2 movies that a notable horror director, this could be good, so we're going to hire him. And that is amazing that Ezra Miller is still a Flash. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, because I was not expecting to make a video today, because I just wanted to take a day off, because I was expecting to make a lot of videos about Spider-Man Far From Home, since I'm seeing that tonight, so I wanted to take a day off to kind of ease that a little bit. But this came out, so I had to make a video on it, and this means good things, not just for Ezra Miller staying as a Flash. Obviously, that's great. I've said that on multiple occasions. I'm probably going to sound like a broken record, but I've said on multiple occasions that I want Ezra Miller to stay as a Flash because he's shown in the past that he's such a huge fan of the character, and he's such a great actor, so you need to keep that person on as long as possible. But it's not just good for him. It's good for the overall DCEU because slowly but surely it's being shown more and more that actors that we originally thought were going to get recast or not used might still be in the universe. First we had all those people for the Suicide Squad. We thought none of them were going to return or they were going to get recast. Turns out they're rewriting the Suicide Squad script to not include Deadshot because they want to still include Will Smith as Deadshot in the DCU. Margot Robbie's coming back. Captain Boomerang's coming back. Rick Flagg's coming back. Amanda Waller coming back. And then now we have the news of Ezra Miller coming back. And that can mean that we get his dad coming back. Remember Barry Allen's dad from Justice League? He could be coming back. Maybe even they keep the same actress for Iris, which I personally would be skeptical of because I've only seen her in the Disney Channel show Austin and Ally, and typically those actors don't really move on to much with the exception of people like Zac Efron and Zendaya. So I'm a bit skeptical on her, but hey, maybe they keep her and she's great. And then this moves on again to Ray Fisher, who recently I made a video on. He said he doesn't think his time is up yet as Cyborg, so he could come back somewhere down the line as well. Maybe he comes back in this movie. That's just speculation, that's just something I'm throwing out there. But maybe he comes back in The Flash. And then the big one, maybe there's still a small bit of chance for Henry Cavill coming back as Superman. Now, I made a video yesterday talking about how it seems like Henry Cavill is confirmed to be done as Superman because, one, the Hollywood Reporter is saying that he's done months ago. Credible scoopers are backing them up, and there's been nothing to really prove them wrong or make anybody think that they're wrong. And yesterday, when the stills for The Witcher came out, in the Entertainment Weekly article, it said ex-Superman. Now, the article hasn't been updated to take out the ex-Superman portion, but interestingly enough, the Instagram post that posted these pictures for EW was edited and changed to not include the ex-Superman part, which is really confusing me because why would they change it on that but not the article? So I'm still a bit confused on Henry Cavill's situation. I'm still going to be going under the assumption that he isn't Superman in the DCEU going forward, but I think this Ezra Miller still being the Flash, I think is actually a really good sign because that means that they might not be totally trying to distance themselves from everything Justice League and Snyder related, which is what I think a lot of people thought was originally the case, that Warner Brothers was saying, okay, so with the exception of Aquaman and Wonder Woman, since they made a lot of money and were really successful and were loved by fans, we're just going to distance ourselves as far as we can from anything related to the Snyderverse. But it seems like now there's a chance that Henry Cavill could still come back. Now, again, I'm still going under the assumption that he's out. I think you should as well. But the Flash movie seems to be, moving forward. It's still not here yet. We should have had it already. But it seems like it's moving forward, and it makes sense that they would cast the It director because, one, he's worked for Warner Brothers before on It and It Chapter 2. It was amazing, and It Chapter 2 looks amazing, if not better. And then they've had success in the past with horror directors directing these superhero movies and them being great successes. I'm really hoping that they go more similar in tone with, say, Shazam than Aquaman. I feel like Aquaman was too cheesy, where Shazam balanced itself really well, in my opinion, with the lighthearted, fun, but also very serious and mature and dark moments. And I think that's exactly what a Flash needs to be, because if you're going to have a villain like, say, Black Flash, you're going to have those more dark and scary moments. And also with a character like Barry Allen, he's not really a comedic kind of character, right? That's more Wally West. Hashtag ding is for Wally West. He's not really a comedic kind of person. And his backstory is very dark and very serious, with his mom being killed by Reverse Flash. So they need to be able to tackle that well without being, too over-the-top funny or too cheesy, kind of like how Aquaman was, in my opinion. Shazam, I felt like, balanced it really well, and I feel like if they model the Flash movie off of Shazam, maybe dial down the comedy a little bit, because, like I said, Barry Allen isn't really the comedic character, dial down the comedy a little bit, I think we could have a great movie on our hands. And this just backs up what was said a week ago around with Variety. They said that Ezra Miller is going to start filming The Flash once the Fantastic Beasts is done, and that seems like that's going to be the case because they want to start getting things ready according to Hollywood Reporter by January 2020. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Fantastic Beasts movie, the third one, is supposed to start filming early next year, so if they can get the script done, if they can get casting done by the time that's over, by the time Fantastic Beasts 3 is done filming, then they can run right into The Flash filming for, I would assume, a 2022-2023 release date, seeing as for 2021 we have the Batman and the Suicide Squad, and a movie like The Flash would probably need some more time for special effects in those movies, so it might take longer to get that movie out, but there are a lot of DC movies filming next year. I mean, as of what we know right now, Batman, the Suicide Squad most likely will run into next year because it's starting to film in the fall, so that could run into next year. You also have possibly Shazam 2, Black Adam, Supergirl, and now The Flash, which is 6 DC movies. Now that sounds like a lot, and that is a lot. So that kind of makes me nervous a little bit, but I think it shows that Walter Hamada has a lot of confidence in these future DC movies, in these projects, and that's a great thing. And the fact that Ezra Miller isn't getting recast, like I said, is just a great, great thing, and really reignites my hope for the future of the DCEU. You might remember a while back, I made a video talking about why it's time for the DCU to reboot, and it's because all these actors are getting either recast or just not used. Flash, recast or not used. Cyborg, not used. Superman, recast or not used. Batman, recast. You know, the whole Suicide Squad recast. But it seems like that might not be the case anymore, and that's a great thing. And also, to go back to the Superman thing, I do want to admit I might have jumped the gun a little bit when I said confirmed. So I apologize about that. It just seemed like to me at the time it was confirmed. Might not be. I apologize for jumping the gun on that. Wanted to clarify that. There is a chance he could come back in the future. Doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like he will. The chances are slim, but there still is a chance he could come back in the future, so I apologize for jumping the gun there. But bottom line is, the IT director most likely looks like will be directing the Flash movie. We have the writer of Bumblebee and Birds of Prey writing the Flash. Ezra Miller is still the Flash. Things seem to be looking up for the Flash movie and the DCEU. Let's just hope, fingers crossed, there isn't bad news for DCEU, because as a fan noticed a while back and brought to my attention, whenever there's something good news for DC, bad news is always right around the corner, so let's hope that doesn't happen this time. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for more DC Comics Explained videos. Smash that like button if you enjoyed, and share this video out with friends and family and anyone on social media. Let me know in the comments, guys. Are you excited for the Flash movie? And do you like Ezra Miller as a Flash in a more darker, serious Flash movie? Link to merch in the description. Click right here for my most recent upload, and click right here for my DC Comics Explained playlist. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you next time.